Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's product tour webinar. So we're going to spend today's time, the next 20 minutes or so. We want to let you get back to your busy days, but we're going to give you a quick introduction to the Zenput platform, but spend most of our time focusing on telling you about our free COVID-19 product offering. And so my colleague Rob Shell is also on the line. He'll give you a live demo of the platform and how it actually works. And of course, we'll answer any other questions that you might have along the way. So let's get right into it. Owning a single restaurant, convenience store, grocery store, or other food service operation right now would be tough enough during this situation. But especially as a multi-unit operator, overseeing and managing dozens or hundreds of locations comes with its own unique set of challenges. And operationally, as we're talking with our own customers in figuring out their own responses to this situation, these are some of the things that we're actually seeing rise to the top in terms of how they're aiming to respond. So for example, rolling out new cleaning and sanitation procedures across every one of their stores, obviously keeping employees and customers safe is a top priority as they try to keep the doors open and continue serving them during this time. Employee screening and actually reporting if someone is showing symptoms, again, hugely important. We see operators trying to standardize, for example, how when an employee shows up for a shift every day, asking them a certain set of questions and making sure that they are actually okay to work. And if not, reporting it the right way, sending them home and surfacing that up the chain of command. For the last several weeks, more operators have begun grounding their field teams. So, these teams that exist purely to help keep stores compliant with certain procedures, helping coach them and improve in certain areas. When they're grounded, it becomes obviously more difficult to enforce compliance, right? To help stores do what they need to do. So working through that. And finally, among many other things, businesses that may have not run this way at other times are converting their operations to take out delivery to continue to serve customers. But this presents a whole different new set of challenges that they have not had to deal with before. And so these are really the areas during this time that we're trying to lean in and help our customers and operators navigate during this time. And so stepping back just a little bit, Zenput has actually been around for the last 7-8 years, working with multi-unit operators to improve their ability to execute on strategic initiatives across their entire operation. So whether it's rolling out new brand standards, holding their teams in every single store more accountable for following their carefully crafted food safety protocols, right? And any number of other strategic initiatives that they're having to manage across a huge set of locations. And so equipping everyone, whether it's store managers to field teams to ops leaders, with the tools to be more productive and just do their jobs really well. During this time, we're obviously just wanting to do whatever we can to help customers, to help operators navigate this. And so what we've really been doing for the last few weeks is shifting all of our energy to helping support them during this time. And so with that, I'd like to talk through some of the details of this free COVID-19 program that we're rolling out with new operators to, among other things that they're trying to do, again, just roll out some new processes across every store more successfully. So if this is something that you are sort of interested in learning about more, here are some of the details. So again, these things are ready to go out of the gate. Customizable COVID-19 checklists. So we actually built these in working with customers that started creating their own. We created these templates and are making them available to anyone, whether they're using Zenput or not. Things like a daily cleaning and sanitation checklist. So in our platform, you can instantly send these out to all of your stores and actually set them to be assigned to every store on a recurring basis, whether you want it done twice a day or 5 times a day. You can have this work assigned to anyone across your operation as frequently as you'd like to. Again, task assignment and alerts. So not only is it about sending out the checklists or other work that you want done by certain people or all stores across your operation, but actually being able to receive alerts as a field manager or as an ops leader when a certain answer is submitted, or if a certain report, for example, if an employee is showing symptoms, people want to be alerted of that. And so we help automate that to make sure that that everyone who needs to know about it can know about it instantly. And finally, included in this free COVID-19 program is compliance tracking. And so what this means is being able to track what exactly is happening across every single one of the locations, and being able to flag easily if one store or multiple stores are falling behind in a certain area, you being able to see that and being able to take action on it quickly. So these are just a high level kind of overview of what the program looks like. What I'd like to do now is pass things over to my colleague Rob to actually get into the details and how it actually works.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Pete. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right. Well, thank you everybody again for joining. I know it's a hectic time, so we certainly appreciate the time. So as Pete mentioned, really this program is designed for operators to quickly respond to the COVID crisis and allowing you guys to push out all of the activities that you need to keep your team members and customers safe. So in terms of the actual program itself, getting started on this free, no obligation program is really as simple as kind of 3 steps. So the first step that we take operators through that want to sign up is working together with them to get information around their locations, their users, their kind of team structures that will be leveraging the platform. We have a template that we share with all new customers that we turn around within 30 minutes of you guys signing up to collect some of that information, and can get that turned around once we receive it in just a couple of hours to build out the account. Once we have the users and locations uploaded, we also address the COVID-19 procedures, checklists, standard operating procedures that you guys are looking to implement. As Pete alluded to, we have several templates that we've worked with food safety and infectious disease experts, as well as other brands on, that we'll walk you through. However, these can be customized and to best suit your kind of operational needs for your specific business. And the third piece that we'll focus on is also helping you assign this work out, as Pete mentioned, at certain cadences based on your personal requirements. So getting set up is really, really quick and allows operators to move agilely in this environment to, again, ensure that these procedures are being rolled out. So once we have all of that information, I'll flip over into the actual product itself and talk a little bit about some of the templates that we've created. So as Pete mentioned, many different brands are going ahead and producing a lot of different procedures to cover many different use cases that may be outside of their kind of standard operating procedures on a day-to-day basis. So this encompasses a couple of different things from the templates we've created with different brands in the industry, ranging from just kind of general confirmation of training and receipt of information around policy changes, where you can actually upload policies and require that your team submit feedback that they have read, understand, and share that with the rest of the team. to actual deep dive store sanitation checklists and kind of daily walkthroughs that can be leveraged in addition to all the other things that the teams are doing, again, to help ensure that the environment is safe. Now, one of the kind of key aspects we certainly understand from our customers, both here domestically in the US as well as on a global scale, that everyone is adhering to different regulations, whether it be mandated by the state, by local governances and counties, and even ranging from different store formats, right? QSRs, fast casual, retail locations. So in addition to kind of these templates, one of the things our team is really adept at is also working with you guys to recommend and provide guidance around scheduling some of this work. Some of you that may have operations that are less affected may still need to be cleaning dining rooms and dine-in locations. Others are just focused on drive-through and carry-out. And so we've seen the sanitation checklist assigned out as kind of few and frequently as maybe twice a day to some brands that are hyper-focused on this to be sent out every hour for the stores to complete and make sure that they're doing those items. And then lastly, from a template perspective, we also want to address some of the more ad hoc or kind of incident related escalations where we're doing employee screenings or maybe quickly and in real time bubbling up any issues to, say, a district manager or a field team member or someone at the home office that we've had an incident of an employee coming in showing symptoms or being exposed to different coronavirus, whether it's through kind of external environments or individuals that they know they've come in contact with. So these three templates are created and available for all customers that sign up to Zenput. We have the ability to really quickly customize these as you take a look and see if there are things that are more or less applicable to the business, as well as to build out your own forms that maybe your brand is dictating if you're a franchisee, or for those of you that are franchisors or individual brands that may want to push this out, directly to your store locations. Once the templates and the users and locations are finalized and approved, one of the core pieces that is helping with the actual implementation of these procedures and driving compliance is our ability to proactively assign this work out to our store teams. It's one thing to have templates and procedures, but it's another thing entirely to prompt the right actions at the right time. And so work assignment is a big part of how we're helping address this problem. Zenput makes it incredibly easy to assign work out, as Pete mentioned, at any type of cadence, whether it's maybe a general policy acknowledgement that goes out once, to some of these, cleanliness or sanitation checks that are happening, multiple times throughout the day. So we set these up for you based on those cadences. Again, we can provide guidance, and those will continue to run at those cadences to prompt the right actions from those employees. So once the work is assigned, we will send notifications out to your employees directly through the Zenput mobile application. So the mobile app is a native application for iOS, Android, and Windows devices. So it's basically available on any kind of modern device that has access to either Wi-Fi or cellular connection to receive these tasks. And stores will be pinged appropriately at the right times, again, to remind them and prompt them to go do these items. I'll show you an example of one of the sanitation checklists where, as a store, it's very clear to me to come in and understand what my expectations are here. And as I'm going around the restaurant or the convenience store or the retail location, it makes it very simple for me to walk around with my device, verify that these items are sanitized or in a manner that is clean and in line with what our standards are. Additionally, you're able to capture additional information from the stores, things like photos, to provide further evidence that items are set up properly. So it's a very simple way for your store teams to receive this work and then also mark any kind of completion that's required of them. Whether it's from a task view, I can submit this form and have that immediately escalated to my district manager and to the home office. However, in those ad hoc instances, you also have access to these forms if an employee shows up for work that's not feeling well or has some sort of symptoms. We're able to easily capture that information in the same place that we're going for all of our other SOPs, and make it very easy to escalate this. We can customize the flow of this information to alert certain individuals in the organization that may need to know in real time, rather than having to wait hours or even days in some cases for that information to bubble up. So this is incredibly simple for the store teams to understand the standards and enforce them. And again, that ability to assign this out is going to constantly prompt them to go do these items at the right time. We understand it's a hectic environment for store teams, and anything that we can do to kind of prompt and remind them that work needs to get done is incredibly helpful to the store teams in structuring their days. Once the information is collected on the application, of course, all of that is sent up to both the mobile applications for team members above the restaurants, as well as to this kind of management view where I can see live time progress across all of my projects that I've assigned out to all of my teams. So for members at the home office, you'll get instant visibility into lifetime progress, seeing what stores have completed these, how many stores have not yet done the work. And as Pete mentioned, part of the challenging environment that this has created for a lot of customers is the fact that a lot of the verification of this work that was previously done by field teams is now much harder because field teams are being asked to stay at home in certain areas of the world and not go visit the stores. So this is also an incredibly powerful view. If I'm Rob, a district manager, I can come in and view this information specific for my district and get the visibility that I need to help better manage my teams remotely because I have this information that the teams are getting this work done. If I need to complete or click in and view any of this information, all of your team members above the restaurant would have access to view this as well and start to see all the answers that have come in, and then of course any photos that were taken as well. Additionally, a core part of this remote kind of management that we're having to deal with is also managing the communication. It's very common for teams to struggle with having text messages, phone calls spread across the entire environment. So we've also, allowed district managers and team members at the home office to live time collaborate and chat back and forth with their particular store locations. If there is something that they need to address or follow up on from a question perspective, they can directly ping this particular restaurant around some of the issues that they're seeing or questions that they may have. So communication is also consolidated here to keep everybody on the same track of driving compliance against these procedures that may or may not be relatively new, depending on how you guys have responded so far. So this is a great way to kind of view and collaborate on all of these particular areas of the business directly in this kind of mobile environment. And lastly, for kind of overall views, when we consolidate this information, especially for team members back at the home office, it's very helpful to kind of view this information, not just for one particular location or district, but across the organization. So as your teams out in the restaurants or store locations are proactively doing all of this work, we're able to track that on the back end, oftentimes from a more qualitative perspective. As a VP of Ops or COO, I can instantly see across all of the locations that I manage, or even my single location, are there overdue items that we're missing out from these COVID procedures, or how are we tracking week over week, month over month in terms of executing on that important work that needs to get done. So again, our whole goal here is to provide a system that is incredibly easy to use, incredibly easy to get set up, so you guys are able to react quickly and again, drive the right behaviors to ensure safety for your team members and your customers, to help mitigate some of the effects that we're all feeling from the coronavirus outbreak. Whether that's customizing or using our templates, being able to push that out to your teams has been incredibly effective for thousands of locations that are leveraging Zenput today, both here in the US as well as abroad. So with that, I know we're collecting questions. Pete, I might toss it back to you.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Rob. And I know it's tough to get through all the functionality in this limited amount of time. But thanks for going over that. I have a few questions come in, Rob, that I'll punt over to you. So one of them was, we have our own checklists and processes that we've started rolling out. Can we build these into Zenput? Rob, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, of course. Yes. So the short answer is absolutely. We've, due to the work that we have with a lot of brands and different types of organizations, we certainly understand that, franchisees may be receiving guidance or requirements that they need to implement in their locations from a brand or from their franchisor. Franchisors, this is also, a great way to implement some of the procedures that you may have already developed, but are not fully capable to roll that out other than anything from pen and paper, email, and text messages. So absolutely. So our process is very similar in the setup. You don't have to use our templates. So many of our brands have started to implement their own procedures, require different information from their locations, and that may even vary to the extent of the individual formats for those locations as well. So we can customize those to fit your needs, build those forms out in the account, and assign them out just like we would with our templates to the correct cadence that you guys want those filled out from again, either your own store locations, or maybe even those of the franchisee network for a specific brand or entity.
Perfect. And we'll do one last one here, and then point folks to other resources. But is this completely free? There's nothing else that I have to pay for? And I think they were referring to this the free COVID-19 program here, Rob.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So the answer is yes. This is a free program available to anyone that is looking for some support and help in implementing different procedures across their organization as a COVID-19 response program. There's no obligation here. So from now until June 30th, of 2020, we are offering this program free, no obligation, no contracts, to be able to help provide some support. We're in a unique position as a business of our core focus is helping organizations roll out SOPs and marketing promotional items and a whole host of things that need to happen at the store. So this very much fits in line with our core business. So we have we're in the position to be able to help support brands, and which is exactly what we're trying to do. We understand that everyone is feeling effects differing across the globe, and so we're in a position to be able to help. And so this is a free program, no obligation, no contract, to be able to implement some of these procedures and hopefully help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Perfect. And we do have some more coming in, so I'll just keep piling them on. I do want to let people go, but I'm going to combine two questions here into one, about how long does this typically take to set up, and then another question was who actually does the installation or setup. So how long and who's sort of involved?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in terms of getting the account set up, after you sign up for this program, you will receive the templates for the user and location information that we will need to set up the account in just a matter of minutes. So you'll receive that right away with the templated information. And once we receive that information back, most accounts are up and running in just a couple of hours. Given the complexity of the organization, or if we need to build out custom forms for you guys, it could take as up to 12 to 24 hours to get that up and running. But very much this is meant to implement incredibly quickly, get you guys set up so you can respond now versus having to wait weeks to kind of get something in place. In terms of the actual implementation and setup as well, if you're leveraging the templates themselves, we do all of the setup on our end. And even if you're not need custom setup for different forms and SOPs, we're able to do that as well. So we do all of the heavy lifting from the implementation perspective, and also help customers from the training perspective. We know it's kind of a hectic time, so we can basically manage the training and rollout process in a variety of ways. As you saw on the quick demo, the system is very simple and is meant to be simple and easy to understand and use. So most of our customers are up and running in less than 24 to 48 hours. We're here to help provide support from a training perspective, whether that be a webinar with your team and all of your employees, or maybe we do a webinar with leadership and maybe some of the field team that can help train the store locations. We're pretty flexible, but we do all of the heavy lifting to get this up and running. And our team is fully equipped and all hands on board here. So we're able to implement really, really quickly.
Perfect. And as a final one related to it, one last question was, could you comment on the hardware that is needed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as I mentioned, from the mobile application, which is again primarily where your store locations or maybe your field personnel are leveraging the mobile app, it's a native mobile application for iOS, Android, and Windows devices. So basically any kind of device. There are a couple of device requirements that we have. Most of them are pretty standard these days. Things like a rear-facing camera if you're requiring teams to take photos. And from a software on those hardware devices, typically we support kind of the last 3 versions of Android and iOS. So it covers most of the devices that would be out in the marketplace anyway. And for Windows devices, we're Windows 10 and above in terms of support for the operating systems. We also we can include this information on the on follow-ups that we can send to all of you. But on our support page, we also have a more detailed list of actual hardware requirements. I'll give some just anecdotal context. A lot of our customers may already have tablets in their store locations, whether it's being used for LMS or line busting or a variety of different use cases. And most oftentimes our customers or organizations that are signing up for this will just leverage those tablets while they're above restaurant or above store leadership teams from a district or regional level are leveraging this on their personal cell phones. But that's also something that we can provide a ton of guidance around based on your unique position. But it's certainly something we can send out with a full list of hardware requirements. On the only other piece that I'll add there as well is on the management side of the platform, where we're able to track live progress and assign that workout and build and edit forms. That is a web-based interface, so it can be leveraged on basically any device that has connection to the internet.
Perfect. Thanks, Rob. We've gone a little bit over here, but appreciate everyone's questions. Just as a final wrap up here, again, really thank you for joining and carving out this time. We'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have in a one-on-one conversation. Feel free to call us. A couple of resources for you here. You can sign up now for this program that we were just going over at zenput.com/COVID19. You can also feel free to please reach out to us at COVID-19 support@zenput.com. Again, happy to answer any questions that you might have and go into more detail on this. We'll send you a recording of the webinar that you can access anytime. And again, I'm happy to go into more detail in a one-on-one conversation if you get in touch. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.